This podcast is sponsored by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Free free. There's also creation tools that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. I actually use Anchor for this podcast, and it has saved me a lot of time and energy because everything is consolidated in one place. It just makes it so much easier. So if you're interested in doing the same thing, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Once again, you can download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey y'all, my name is Christian. I'm a millennial, and this is the Millennial Mind. Millennials get a bad rep for being lazy, non-productive members of society. They are also told that their opinions are warped and that they don't matter. This podcast is designed to express an opinion, but from a millennial's perspective. We will talk about everything from love and relationships to pop culture to pretty much everything that comes to mind. Come join me on this journey of speaking my mind, and I hope that all of you are speaking your mind as well. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Goli gummies. Now, we all know that apple cider vinegar is the new health kick right now, okay? So you're supposed to take a shot or two in the morning. Some people take it 3 times a day, and you're supposed to get a lot of health benefits, such as losing weight, appetite control, etc. If you guys have ever taken apple cider vinegar shots, it is a very strong taste, okay? It's a very strong taste. It burns your throat when it goes down, just the whole nine. I used to take apple cider vinegar shots as well, and I just got sick of the taste. So I tried to find an alternative to it where I wouldn't lose the benefits, but the taste would be a little bit better. That's when I found out about Goli gummies. Now, Goli gummies, they are little gummies that has apple cider vinegar in it, and you get all of the same benefits of an apple cider vinegar shot. So the appetite control, the weight loss, etc. It's really tasty, so you don't have that burning sensation that's going down your throat every time you consume it. It's amazing. It comes in nice little packaging. They also have, you can also get an individual bottle if you want to try it, or you could do the 1 month supply, 3 month supply, or even a 5-month supply of these gummies. I take them every day and I love them. I try not to eat them as candy because they're just that good. If you want to take advantage of these gummies, I do have a special promo code for my listeners. You can go to go.goli.com/cfuller to get an additional 5% off your purchase. And there is nothing wrong with additional savings. I will take whatever I can get. So if you want to take advantage of these gummies, go to go.goli.com/cfuller to get additional savings. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of The Millennial Mind. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of speaking my mind, and I hope that all of you are speaking your minds as well. Just a few church announcements. One, make sure that you tune in to the live that I'm doing with my good friend Renee B. Renee. It is every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's called Live and in Color. I think I previously was calling it Live and in Living Color. It's actually Live and in Color. Don't judge me, judge your mama instead, okay? So every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, make sure that you listen to that live. That will be on Renee B. Renee's blog page, which is RBR Blogs. I put that link, or not the link, but the information in the show notes. Also, make sure that you take a look at my blog, What Makes You So Special. It's about becoming your authentic self, and just basically my journey in becoming my authentic self and showing others how to do the same. And that is on www.christianfuller.com/blog. I will be having a new blog post coming out on May 7th, so stay tuned for that. Also, I was having a new podcast launching this spring called Dear Black Jesus, but that has been pushed back for some personal reasons. So that as soon as that comes back on track or gets back on track, I will let you guys know. Okay. That's all the church announcements I have for you guys today. Let's get into this week's episode. So I'm going to give a little background as to what I'm talking about, and then we'll kind of go from there. So I visited my parents yesterday. They live 10 minutes from me or so it's pretty easy to see them. So I went to see them, and me and my dad were talking. And my dad was telling me that one of my family members doesn't go to church. And if you've been listening to my previous episodes, you'll know that I'm a Christian, I go to church, etc. So my dad was telling me that this particular family member doesn't go to church. I was like, okay. And he kept going and said that this individual's reasoning as to why they do not go to church is because my grandmother, who was a staunch Christian, was forcing this particular person to go to church. So I'm like, okay, that's an interesting reasoning. And I'll say that and I said that for a couple of reasons. One, because my grandmother is deceased. My grandmother passed away almost 20 years ago. So this is 20 years worth of thinking that this deceased person is really the reason why they're not doing what they're supposed to do. That's number one. And then number two is kind of the lack of accountability for me. Okay. The reason why, people don't do what, they're supposed to do, is because they don't want to do it. And I wish some people would come out and say that it's not because somebody forced you to do it. Like your parents force you to eat your vegetables, but do you blame them for not eating your vegetables because they forced you to do it? No, they had you to do it because first you were a child. So that was number one. Then number two, it was good for you. Anything after that is on you as to why. So when you become an adult, anything that you do or do not do is personal choice. So I've gone through life and noticed that a lot of people have a lack of accountability for their actions, for what they say, for what they do, etc. So before I go further, I just wanted to give you guys a definition on what accountability is, or to be accountable. So to be accountable is basically to be required or expected to justify actions or decisions, being responsible. So basically, we have a lot of irresponsible people out here. a lot of people who won't justify their actions as being personal choices, a lot of people who are blaming others for why they do what they do, instead of being responsible and say, hey, the reason why I do what I do is because it's my personal choice. It's something that I do or don't want to do. Like, I remember being at the firm that I was previously at. And that's something that my former boss will always tell me, like, hey, if you don't know something or if you did something wrong, be accountable and let me know. Because if you let me know soon enough, then I can help, because that's my job as a manager, is to not only, make sure that what I'm doing is right, but to help you with anything that you may need and to like douse fires. So I need for you to be responsible and let me know. And that's something that I've carried on with me throughout my life. With that being said, I've noticed that a lot of people don't do that. Like I was saying before, in my profession, there are attorneys out there who will talk to their clients and give them incorrect information because they don't want to tell their clients that they don't know. There's no possible way that we can know everything. Okay. I don't know everything. So if my client asked me a question and I didn't know the answer, I would say, you know what, that's a good question, Mr. and Mrs. So and so. I don't have the answer right now, but let me do a little bit of research and I can have an answer to you within, insert specified amount of time. That's what I would do. And my clients, they would appreciate that, instead of me not being responsible and saying some BS answer that could very well lead them down the path that I don't want them to go on. So you have to be accountable. And for me, I just can't live life blaming somebody else or something else for why I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do in life, or why I'm not accomplishing my dreams and my goals. Like, do you know how how crazy that is? Like, no, the reason why you haven't achieved what you want to achieve is not because of your mom, it's not because of your dad, it's not because of your grandma, grandfather, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, friend, etc. It's because of you. It's your personal choice. You have to be accountable. You have to be responsible and say, hey, the reason why I'm not progressing in life is because of me. Now, I know that a lot of us have gone through something. Everyone has gone through something in some form or capacity, whether it's having abusive parents, whether it's having an abusive spouse, whether it's having health issues, whether it's being sexually molested, sexually harassed, etc. And there, me personally, there are a lot of things that I went through that could have been damaging, should have been damaging. But I made up in my mind that, hey, I'm not going to let this situation, however big it may seem in my head, to stop me from doing what I want to do and what God has called me to do. I just can't live life like that. So when I heard my dad talk about this particular family member who was blaming someone else for why they weren't doing what they were supposed to do, I'm like, okay, I see what that is. That's a lack of accountability. That's a lack of responsibility. And I don't want to be like that. Because anytime you're still blaming a deceased person as to why you're not doing what you're supposed to do, that's a problem. It's a problem in my head. Now, I know some people may not agree with me. Some people may say, oh, Christian, you don't know what I've been through. I've been through a lot. And I empathize with that. I completely empathize with that. I may not I may not be able to sympathize because I wasn't in the same situation, may or may not be, but I can most certainly empathize and acknowledge that you've been through that situation. However, how long are you going to let that to stop you from doing what you want to do? How long are you going to let that stop you from accomplishing your goals? How long are you going to let that stop you from accomplishing your dreams? How long are you going to let that stop you from growing in your life, from going to a higher level? Like, how long? Is this going to be the rest of your life? Because if so, that I'm sure that's not the life that you want to live. You want to be able to look back on your life and say, hey, I've accomplished something. Hey, I've had some bumps in the road. I've had some obstacles. I've had some hills to climb. I had some valleys that I was in. But, I made it out on top. I didn't let those obstacles or those valleys stop me from doing what I want to do in my life. I kept going. Sure, my shoes were messed up. My clothes were a little bit, distraught, but I kept going. And we just all need to be like that. Take responsibility for our own lives. We shouldn't, because here's the thing. When we blame others for what we're not doing, we're giving someone else control over our lives. Is that cute? No, it ain't cute. It ain't cute at all. I refuse to let someone else have that much power over me where I'm blaming them for why I'm not doing what I want to do or what I'm supposed to do. No, ma'am, no, sir. Not in Christian Fuller's vocabulary will that ever come out of my mouth. Okay? I can't do it. Like, and if you've listened to a previous episode of season 1, I talked to you guys about my cancer experience and how I lost an eye, and I couldn't let that stop me from achieving what I wanted to achieve. Like, I'm still that way. I can't do it. I can't, because I want to live a fulfilling life. When I leave this earth, I want to be assured that I did everything that I wanted to do, that I had no regrets. Okay? How can I do that if I'm not being responsible and taking accountability for my own life? Like that, it's not happening. I won't be living a fulfilling life if I don't do that. So I urge you guys, if you guys aren't taking accountability for your own life, taking that power back into your own hands, do that. Be responsible, take control over your own life, and see how your life changes. Be responsible, take accountability, take that power back. That power is yours. That power does not belong to a third party. That power does not belong to mom, dad, uncle, aunt, cousin, etc. That power belongs to you. Take it back. Take back ownership of your life and do what God has ordained you to do. Well, I didn't mean to preach, but that was on my spirit this week. So I hope this encouraged you. I hope this helped you guys out. What do you guys think? How will you be more accountable in your life? Let me know in the comments below, or send me an email at mindofmillennials@gmail.com. You can also make sure to like our Facebook page, The Millennial Mind, and our Instagram page, _Millennial Mind. And of course, I always have a quote for you guys, because you guys know that I love quotes. And this quote is from Steve Maraboli. And it says, "Take accountability. Blame is the water in which many dreams and relationships drown." Whew, that was heavy, but well needed in today's society. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And until next week, I will talk to you guys soon.